The weirdest part about being faithful is how fast a normal day turns into a, wait, what are they doing, day. And today, there are 4 little sparks that can turn into a real problem, or a real opportunity, depending on how you look at it. One smart gamble addition might suddenly be staring at a role that doesn't really exist in a brand new defensive language. A monster inside the division could be trending toward the trade market, and that immediately turns into a fight between win now and don't mortgage the future. A reunion that felt dead and buried is getting a few subtle locker room nudges. And then there's an offensive line decision that looks quiet and boring, until it isn't. None of this is happening on its own either. All 4 threads pull on the same rope, how the 49ers hold on to the present while building the next version of this roster. And if you're faithful, I'm almost positive you'll have a strong take by the time we hit the end. Quick favor, tap like, subscribe to the channel, and get your opinion ready for the comments, because today's mix is the kind that splits the room. Alright, start with the one that feels like a chemistry test, Bryce Huff. Last offseason, the Niners made the classic low-risk, high-reward swing. Bring in a pass rusher with real juice, plug him into a setup that knows how to strike the match, and let him go hunt. Simple idea. Put him back in a familiar environment, let the first step do the talking, and try to drag the pass rush out of the basement. But the script flipped. Robert Saleh is out, Raheem Morris is in, and now Huff goes from nice upside swing to a question you can't dodge. Not because he forgot how to rush, no. It's because scheme really is a language, and if you're not fluent, you hesitate. And in the NFL, hesitation gets you benched. Morris brings different looks, more moving parts, more disguise up front. One thing being talked about is that 5-man front with a linebacker creeping down toward the line, penny alignment vibes, designed to stress protections, steal time from quarterbacks, and turn a half-second of uncertainty into a sack. After a season where the 49ers finished dead last in sacks with 20, anything that even hints at more pressure is going to make people sit up a little straighter. But here's where it gets tense. Huff is an edge guy who wins low. 3-point, 4-point, get off, bend, finish. If you start asking him to live upright as an outside linebacker, read the run, set the edge with patience, handle responsibilities that aren't just go get the quarterback, you might not love what you're getting. And that's when the obvious question hits. Okay, but won't Morris just adjust? He can. But adjustments are choices. And if you're redesigning packages just to keep one player afloat, the coordinator's going to scan the roster and choose the path that creates the fewest headaches, especially when you're trying to rebuild an identity up front. Then the cap piece makes it even colder. Huff is under contract through 2026, but he's heading into the upcoming year with 0 guaranteed money. That's the clean translation. If the fit feels shaky, the team can move on, clear over $5 million in cap space, and keep it moving. Now, small pause. Think about this. If Morris sees a very specific job for him, like third and long packages, inside rush looks, angled attacks to find mismatches against guards, Huff could turn into a sneaky weapon without the defense having to bend around him. But if the internal vibe is, he was a Saleh piece, that exit can happen fast. So where are you on it? Do you try to reinvent Huff and squeeze every ounce out of that burst? Or do you cut early, take the cap space, and avoid building around a fit you're not sure about? And while you're still chewing on that, the rumor out of the desert is getting louder. Jay Glazer recently said Maxx Crosby and the Raiders are trending toward a split. If that door opens even a crack, the league is going to sprint toward it. And you already know what that means for San Francisco. Do you go all in right now? Or do you protect the future? Just picture it for a second. Nick Bosa on one edge, Maxx Crosby on the other, Mykel Williams sliding inside a bunch, creating chaos in the middle. That's not hype. On the field, that front stresses every protection plan in the NFL. Crosby isn't just sacks. He's constant pressure, relentless motor, the kind of player who changes your opponent's play calling simply because he exists. But football isn't only tape. It's also the draft room and the cap sheet. The cost would be brutal, at least 2 first-round picks, and that kind of investment can look fine in February and turn into pain real quick when injuries hit or a season tilts the wrong way. Future picks are always more valuable than people want to admit, until it's their team paying the bill. Then there's the contract layer. Crosby has 2 years left, but the final year has no guaranteed money and sits well below what the market is paying elite pass rushers. Any team trading for him should expect extension talks. You can soften the short-term cap hit with a signing bonus, sure, but that pushes real money into the back end. And the 49ers already have heavy commitments with Bosa, plus the looming realities of Trent Williams and George Kittle. Be honest, this is what it really comes down to. Are you willing to put real weight on a 2-year championship window? Because that's what a move like this creates. Less draft capital means less cheap talent, less depth, fewer answers when something breaks. Less cap flexibility means the margin for error becomes razor thin. If you win a Super Bowl in that span, nobody cares about the price. It becomes legendary. If you don't, the bill shows up later. So where do you land? Are you pushing the chips in and daring the league to block that pass rush? Or are you staying patient and trusting that a healthy roster is already enough? And just when you think today can't get more emotional, a name from the past comes back and hits the fan base right in the identity. Deebo Samuel. Not just a player, an era, a vibe, a weapon that used to make defenses take a deep breath before the snap. When Deebo left, it stung. That trade push created real friction and it felt final. In Washington, he put up 802 scrimmage yards, one of the lower totals of his career. Nowhere close to that 2021 version that looked like a position all by himself. Time passes, the body takes hits, and a lot of people just assumed, that chapter's over. But football loves irony. Christian McCaffrey went on Kay Adams' show and didn't hesitate. He said the locker room would welcome Deebo back, no question. That's not empty talk. That's the heartbeat of the offense saying the door isn't locked. And he explained why. Deebo's energy, the fear defenses still show when the ball gets in his hands, the way he changes angles and attitudes when he's running after the catch. Now, let's keep it real. Deebo today isn't the same unstoppable force from a few years ago. He's 30, he's taken real wear and tear, and his physical style always comes with a price. So the question isn't, can he be the guy? It's, can he be the right piece? Because the receiver room could get thin fast. Brandon Ayuk looks like he may have played his final snap with the team. Juwan Jennings is headed toward free agency. Ricky Pearsall is coming off an injury-plagued season. Suddenly, the idea of a complementary Deebo, used smartly, starts making football sense. Motion looks, screens, a few backfield touches, red zone packages, third down conversions. Not to carry the offense, but to stress defenses and force coordinators to waste time building a plan just for him. The hard part is the money and the valuation. Deebo's view of his impact and the team's view of his role might not line up. If there's a real middle ground, though, that reunion goes from no way to why not. So I've got to ask you straight. Do you close that door out of pride? Or do you open it again, with clear eyes about who Deebo is right now? And while everybody argues about stars, trades, and reunions, there's a quiet decision sitting right in the middle of all of it. Jake Brendel. He's not trending. He's not selling jerseys. He's not a highlight clip. But for Kyle Shanahan, Brendel represents something coaches value more than fans want to admit. Trust in the system, at the most important communication spot on the offensive line. Around the league, plenty of people see Brendel as an average center. That's not insane. He's not out here flattening nose tackles every week. But he knows this offense inside and out. Protection calls, run game timing, line adjustments. And that familiarity matters when you're trying to keep the floor steady while you fix bigger problems elsewhere. And let's be clear, the 49ers have more urgent offensive line needs than center. Left guard has to be addressed. Depth has to improve. Creating a new hole at center without a real reason goes against how Shanahan usually operates. He'd rather stabilize the core and fix the surroundings than blow up the middle for no gain. The contract backs that up. Brendel's salary isn't big enough to force a move. His name shows up mostly because his money isn't guaranteed, which means the door is technically open if the perfect opportunity drops into their lap. Like, if the draft drops a center to San Francisco that the staff believes can start right away without a long learning curve. In that specific scenario, a post-draft release could be on the table. But before that, it's hard to see it. And don't overlook the quarterback angle. Brock Purdy benefits from continuity right at the snap point. Clean communication, reliable snaps, predictable protection IDs. Pull that out randomly, and you might create more problems than you solve. So yeah, Brendel might be the least likely cut, but his situation is a reminder. Not every roster decision is about raw talent. Some are about keeping the foundation solid while the rest of the building gets renovated. And that's the full picture today. A defensive fit that could collapse or surprise. A tempting move that could define the era. A reunion that only works if both sides are honest about roles and value. And a quiet offensive line call that can keep everything from wobbling when the pressure spikes. So tell me, what's the one move that makes you the most uneasy right now? Are you going all in without hesitation, riding with continuity, or trying to blend the past and present with a cautious hand? If you like this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and jump into the comments, because this off-season is going to light up the Bay, and I want to hear exactly where the faithful stands.